Welcome back to Simplify. I'm Evan Umberger, and today we're going to focus on how simplicity can apply to your business and life so that you can cut through the clutter and do what matters most. Our principles are going to come from a guy named Edward de Bono and his 10 rules of simplicity, and at the end, you'll get a plan of how you can be able to streamline your business. All right, let's jump in with the first rule. Number 1, you need to put a high value on simplicity. Sounds simple, right? It's not just a nice to have, it's a strategic priority. Ask yourself, is simplicity truly embedded in your company's values? Not just on the wall, but is it lived out in every conversation? Without setting this mindset from the top, complexity will continue to creep into your processes. Put a high value on simplicity and make it a KPI for your teams. This is the foundation. Simplicity must be as important as any other goal in your business. Number 2, you must be determined to seek simplicity. Simplicity requires perseverance. It's easy to let things get complicated, but it takes real determination to simplify. You must continually ask the question, how can we make this easier? What steps can we take away? What's redundant? And that kind of determination needs to be present in every meeting, decision, and project. This is about pushing for improvement, even when it's uncomfortable. Leaders must encourage a culture of continuously seeking simpler alternatives, no matter the challenge. Number 3, you must understand the matter very well. You can't simplify something unless you understand it deeply. It takes time to understand the full picture before cutting down and pruning what needs to be taken away. For example, simplifying a workflow means fully understanding each step, what tools are used, the key touch points, and potential bottlenecks. Number 4 is you need to design alternatives and possibilities. Simplifying doesn't always mean eliminating. It means finding smarter alternatives, from redesigning the processes, not just cutting down steps. One way you can do this is just to encourage brainstorming, just to get different possibilities and options. And remember that innovation comes from exploring these alternatives, not just settling on the first fix that comes to mind or that's spoken. Number 5, you need to challenge and discard existing elements. This one's tough, especially in a culture that always says, this is the way it's always been done. Ultimately, you need to just let go of what's no longer serving you and your team. But if you really want to simplify, you have to challenge everything. Discard what's not essential. This might mean scrapping redundant software, cutting unnecessary meetings. Should have been an email. Or rethinking these legacy kind of workflows. Don't be afraid to shake things up and make bold cuts. All right, we're halfway done. Number 6, you need to be prepared to start over. Sometimes the best way to simplify is to start fresh. Imagine you've been building a process from scratch. How would you do it? The willingness to start over lets you reimagine what's possible. This is especially useful when a system has just become so bogged down by complexity and incremental changes just won't do the job or move the needle. Sometimes a clean slate is just what you need to break through. Number 7, you need to use concepts. Concepts are your secret weapon, and they allow you to group your ideas and processes under one term that everyone can understand. For example, instead of listing out 10 different activities related to customer service, you might just group them together under one concept like customer experience. This makes it easier to streamline the decision making because you're operating from such a higher level of abstraction. This way you create a shared understanding that makes simplifying the process more intuitive and easier to implement. Number 8 is you need to break things down into smaller units. When you break things down, it just makes it easier to identify the inefficiencies and really the opportunities for improvement. Think about a large project and it can be overwhelming, but when you just break it down into smaller steps, each part becomes more approachable and easier to simplify. This applies to everything. Workflows, product development, operations, marketing, and just by tackling the smaller units, you can be able to analyze each component more effectively and eliminating complexities piece by piece. Remember, simplicity doesn't always mean just skipping steps. It means making the steps smaller, cleaner, and easier to follow. Number 9 is you need to be prepared to trade off values for simplicity. This can come at a cost: your perfection, speed, and even levels of customization. For example, simplifying a product might mean limiting options or features to focus on the core function that serves the majority. In a business process, you might streamline by reducing flexibility or cutting down on personalization to achieve greater efficiency. The key is just to be aware of these trade-offs and understand that maybe not every value can coexist. You have to be willing to prioritize simplicity when it matters most, even if it means letting go of those other things you once considered important. Finally, we're at number 10. You need to know whose sake simplicity is being designed. You need to identify who's going to benefit from this. Your customers, your employees, stakeholders, maybe all of the above. Each group has different needs. What simplifies the experience for one group may complicate it for the other. Let's take, for example, a user interface. You've got to consider their perspective. What features do they actually need? What are their pain points, and what processes actually frustrate them even more? Designing with an audience in mind ensures that this is effective and meaningful. By keeping the end user in mind and at the forefront of your efforts, you can create solutions that truly resonate and just make it easier and more enjoyable for them. All right, now we're at the good part. Let's apply these 10 rules of simplicity into your business. It all starts with 3 key steps: a focus, plan, and team. First, you need to establish a simplicity focus. What's just too complex? And I bet right off the bat, this is what keeps me awake at night, or this is what my team keeps on saying, or maybe you go as far as to having feedback sessions. But, what are those bottlenecks? What are those areas of slowdown in your progress? You've got great input, but the output is just kind of trickling out. You may have a list of 10, and let me encourage you, make the list and then look at what's going to have the greatest return. That could be revenue, that could be relief for your people. Whatever the measurement is of return that you want, then put that at the very top, and let's just focus on one, okay? Next, you need a plan. This is where you outline specific actions to reduce the complexity. You've identified the area to focus on, now let's break it down further. For example, let's say you're focusing on streamlining your marketing reports. This could be everything from your organic social media on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, YouTube, all the way to your Google Analytics, to your ads that you're running on Google, on Meta, and your emails, MailChimp or HubSpot or ActiveCampaign. Go high level. These are great examples of platforms that do great on reporting when you have all their tabs open. Your plan could be consolidating all of the reports on all the different platforms into one primary place that all the team members can access and see. And when this lever pulls, then this is the result. Or how well that campaign did, I don't know. I don't really see it. But if it was in one place, then that would be very helpful for everybody. A good plan like this should be practical, clear, and very easy to follow. Ask yourself, how will we know when things have been simplified enough? What will success look like? And make sure that there's timelines and KPIs so you can measure the progress along the way. And finally, number 3, your simplicity team. They'll be responsible for driving the process forward. Who are the people in your organization that are passionate about efficiency and clarity? They don't necessarily even need to be in leadership roles. It could be your frontline workers. It could be someone from each level of perspective. This will be your team of champions for this initiative. They will help you challenge existing processes, identify the opportunities for improvement, and ensure that these changes are implemented. This is like the party planning committee in the office, but at a higher level. Consider giving this team the authority to make the recommendations across the department. Everyone that touches this and ensure that the simplification isn't just isolated to one part of your organization or just one audience member. How does this affect our customers, our employees, our stakeholders? This dedicated team will ensure that simplicity becomes an ongoing priority, not just a one-time project. You need to allow time for simplicity. It isn't a quick fix. It takes time to break down the complex systems and rebuild them into something more streamlined. Make sure your team has dedicated time to focus on simplifying the processes and really listen to your people. They probably have really great ideas on how to be able to make things easier for them. Rushing through this will only create more chaos down the road. So set aside time each quarter or during planning periods to specifically work on simplification initiatives. To recap, we've got our focus, we've got our plan, we've got our team. Just start to identify that one area of your business that has just become overly complicated. Then create your plan and appoint your champions of simplicity. They'll help you keep the momentum going and ensure that simplification becomes a part of your company's DNA. By focusing on these three areas, you'll not only reduce the complexity in your business, but you'll also see the improvements in efficiency, clarity, and decision-making speed. Remember that this isn't about cutting corners. It's about cutting through the clutter so your business can operate more smoothly. So what one area are you going to simplify first? Take this challenge, make it your own, and let's simplify together. Thanks for tuning in to Simplify. Join me next week as we talk about your leadership approach to decision-making and how many hats can you and your team wear. Until then, stay focused, stay creative, and keep it simple.